detective wouldn't want you hurrying on the slippery roads. Not yet. A minute later, the sedan backs out, carrying the perfect little family, soon to face the consequences of a bad decision. When their taillights disappear around a curve, I turn the ignition. Chapter 2. I want to see you eat a whole bowl of linguine and dessert, Melanie Weaver. Melanie giggled as Carla Pickering tried her best to look serious. It didn't work, and she ended up laughing as well. Susie loved that about her best friend. Since Melanie was born, Carla had been more than her godmother. She'd been like a second mum. "Mummy, when the waiter comes, may I order my own meal, please?" "You can, and even mine if you really want to." Spironi's was always busy on Friday nights, and they sat at their regular table near the window. David had stepped outside to take a phone call, so they were waiting for him, and for Carla's husband. "Where is Bradley, hon?" Carla shrugged. "You know what they're like, both of them. Always something coming up at work at short notice. He promised he'd only run into the warehouse for a minute, and he'd better turn up because I don't want to get a taxi home. And we'll take you if it comes to that." "Comes to what?" "Sorry I'm late." Bradley Pickering leaned over Carla's shoulder to kiss her cheek. "You should have started without me." "Next time we'll make it a girls' night out," Susie said. Through the window, David, his back turned, wasn't happy with whoever was on the other end of the phone. His shoulders were tense, and his spare hand ran through his hair. It wasn't the first time this week he'd stood like that during a phone call. "Who is upsetting you so much?" "Hello, baby girl," Bradley grinned at Melanie as he sat beside her. "Oh, you're here." Melanie sat up straight. "I'm going to order my dinner. And Mummy's." "Rightly so. I should look at the menu. Starving." Bradley leaned back to catch the eye of a waiter. "Missed lunch." "Then let's order. I'll guess for David," Susie said. She didn't have to. David came back in as their waiter arrived, sliding into the seat between Bradley and Susie. He made a show of turning his phone off and pocketing it, and winked at Melanie. She tried to wink back, but both eyes kept opening and closing. As soon as the waiter asked if they were ready to order, she stopped practicing and raised her hand. "I'd like to place an order, please." Everyone laughed. It was impossible not to, but Melanie frowned at them until they stopped. Once she had the quiet she wanted, she precisely and politely ordered and then crossed her arms. Carla whispered something to her, and Melanie's lips flicked up in a smile. David topped up glasses with red wine. "Not for me," Carla covered her glass with a hand. Bradley was quick to fill her glass with water from a bottle in the middle of the table, and she lifted the glass with a quick glance and murmured, "Thanks." The men began a quiet conversation. Melanie had the notebook she took everywhere and was doodling. Susie leaned closer to Carla. "No wine. Are you—" "I don't know. Maybe I'll do a home test tomorrow." "It will happen, and you will be the best mother ever." Susie squeezed her arm. "I just wish—" "What, hon?" "Bradley and I waited too long. I always thought, expected—" "You're not too old, Carla." Carla smiled, a sad smile which tugged at Susie's heart. There were a few years between them, and when Susie had fallen pregnant within a year of marrying David, Carla had teased her about being a young mum. But Carla never once wavered in her support of Susie and fell in love with Melanie on sight. "Auntie Carla, would you please smile at me?"